Hey, Zach, we are back.
And we have a special guest.
We do. You booked a guest. Yay, Zach booked a
No
guest.
doubt.
So our guest today is Alex Waters. He's going to help. He's going to talk with us about community education and impact, and some of the things he's done along his life and career. We'll talk about who he is, why he is pretty well known in the Siouxland community. Zach, I believe, was calling him a pillar, not to embarrass you, but
Hey, whoa.
very active in the
That's
community.
quite the title. I mean, it's way better than some of the negative things that are normally associated with elected officials, but I'll take it, Zach. I appreciate it.
That is true. That is true. Okay, so we're going to talk with him, his personal journey, how he works to help the Siouxland community every day, what he does at Morningside University. I swear I will call it Morningside College at some point during this. I'm sure you slip up too.
I understand.
Yeah, Zach, let's get into the drink and then we'll talk to Alex.
Yeah, so every episode we feature a cocktail. This week's cocktail is a Manhattan. So a little bit of a background. The origin of the Manhattan is a bit of a mystery. There's a story that says it was created in the 1870s at the Manhattan Club in New York. Some believe Dr. Iain Marshall made it for a banquet hosted by Lady Randolph Churchill, while others claim a bartender named Black on Broadway was behind it. So kind of unclear where it came from. But
so is the bartender's name Black, or is the bartender's name Black on Broadway? Just Black.
It was the bartender's name was Black, and then
the bar was
on Broadway somewhere. Okay. I mean, a classic Manhattan is kind of wild. So this is not my drink by any means. And obviously people make crazy Manhattans these days, but this one is kind of the old true classic. So you just need 2 ounces of rye whiskey. You could use Templeton rye. Nice Iowa brand there. 1 ounce of sweet vermouth, 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. And don't overdo it on the bitters. You'll be sorry. Garnish it with a brandied cherry or a lemon twist if you prefer. I think most of the time I see people use Luxardo cherries in these because they're just a little bit deeper. If you put a maraschino cherry in it, I'll slap it out of your hand because that's just not in a Manhattan. Okay, so you take the whiskey, vermouth, and bitters.
This was meant to be, guys. This is my favorite drink.
Is
nice.
That's awesome.
My favorite drink is a Manhattan. So I'm listening to you and I'm like, yep, I know exactly what I use, what the ratio is. It is my absolute favorite drink that I make at home or that I order.
It's one of my favorites too. I love it.
That is it's not my favorite, but that's okay. We have all the stuff for it here, but it's not my favorite. So you just put all that stuff into a mixing glass with ice and you just stir it until well chilled. I suppose you could shake a Manhattan, but traditionally it's stirred. Strain into a chilled Nick and Nora or a coupe glass. You know, I love a good coupe glass. And then you garnish it with your cherry or lemon twist. And that's just a straight up classic Manhattan. Super, super good.
And one of my favorite, sayings that I watch this influencer that does a lot of cocktails. And he always says, don't be a poop, freeze your coupe. You got to throw that coupe in the freezer, get it nice and chilled, and then strain it right into there. And then it's chef's kiss. It's not diluted down too much. It stays nice and cool. It's delicious, well balanced.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome. And that's kind of the better alternative to putting ice and cold water in the glass and letting it sit while you mix your drink and then dumping it out. You see a lot of bars do that to chill the glass down.
Yeah.
I think next level glassware would be if you had a stand-up freezer with a glass door that was just for all of your drink glasses. So every drink glass had its own shelf, all
just
the glasses.
Ready to go.
Probably not red wine glasses, but white wine glasses. Could you imagine that, a frozen white wine glass? It's going to be so good for the white wine. All right.
Now you're talking, Rich. You show me to that refrigerator and that bar setup. You guide me there, my friend, and it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
I mean, the bougiest we have a lot of booze in our house. But the bougiest thing we have is we got a new refrigerator when we moved here. And it makes the round, large ice balls.
Yep.
So good. And also we don't use them a lot. So I'll take them and dump them in to make iced tea because they don't melt as fast. So it stays pretty cold. I don't know. It's just my thing.
Yeah.
All right. So, Alex, just give us the 2-minute background. Who are you? What are you? What do you do? What's going on?
I tell you what, I was talking to Zach and I didn't know how in the world I boil down my background or
I know.
story or how I do this. So I will do my best to give you 30,000 feet and then you guys let me know where I can take it from there. But I would just say, I mean, I'm excited to be here first and foremost. And like I said, I think it's serendipitous that the cocktail of choice is Manhattan, but now it has me craving one. So I might have to,
Ooh.
duck out of work a little early. But I will say that I grew up in Northwest Iowa. I'm an Iowan through and through. And then I grew up over in a tiny town called Ocheyedan, Iowa.
Uh-huh.
So a town of 500 maybe. And then eventually in 8th grade moved over to Okoboji, which is a little better known. It's the Hamptons of Iowa, if you will.
Uh-huh.
And so, grew up there, went to high school there, and then ended up coming down to Sioux City on a golf scholarship to go to Morningside,
Huh.
then college. I understand, Rich. I
Yep.
get it.
Yep.
And so I came on a golf scholarship, but 2 weeks into my freshman year at Morningside, I actually returned to Okoboji where I had a diving accident.
Yeah.
And so a diving accident 2 weeks in. Long story short, I was 150 feet out on a dock and my hat blew off into the water. And so I dove in to retrieve it and it was 18 inches deep. And so it broke my C5, C6 vertebrae. I was able, the people I was with, the 2 girls I was with were trained lifeguards that got
Oh,
me
perfect.
breathing, called paramedics and life flighted down to Sioux City where I would have my surgery. 6 months of rehab out at Craig Hospital in Denver, Colorado,
Okay.
before returning back to go to Morningside and finish my undergraduate degree, go to grad school down at Omaha at Creighton, and then do
Oh,
an
wow.
internship at the U.S. Department of Education.
Yeah, we're gonna get to
In
that one
Sioux
because that
City.
I didn't
Yeah,
know
moved
anything
back to
about
Sioux
that.
City, all these things, and worked for a presidential campaign, was inspired to run for office myself, was eventually elected to the city council, wanted to make a difference in the world around me. I was inspired by the people of the rehab hospital I was at. Shout out to Craig Hospital.
Nice.
And they inspired me to want something more and to pay it forward. So I took a job at Morningside University where I felt that I could do just that. And here we are. Now
Yeah.
I've been at Morningside for over 11 years and held a couple different titles there, but then also been an elected member of our city council here in Sioux City for 8 years now. So it's been
Wow.
2 full terms.
Okay, so that is quite a journey. So, and obviously, like we've crossed paths, we've met. We haven't really talked a ton.
Yeah.
Um, but of course I knew you were in a wheelchair. I've been at events with you. You're in a wheelchair. Like I could see that, but I didn't know all the history. Like, and it sounds like that tragedy, that accident, kind of gave you the experience of coming out of that, and the people you met through it, and the help you got, kind of drove your life direction after that.
Oh,
Like, just
100%.
yeah, just I hear you talk about like, the people in rehab and inspiring you and then wanting to give back and wanting to do service. So, um, let's start in DC because you've been to DC a couple of times.
Yeah, numerous times, yeah.
Yeah, you had your internship. The 2 that I know about is you had your internship that you talked about, Department of Education, but you also spoke, before the Senate at one point, right?
So I had worked on the Senate, well, a couple different committees, and I've spoke before them before, never
Nice.
speaking to like the full Senate,
To a
of
committee.
actually being out there. So I've gotten to attend, a number of different events or go to the White House for different things. I actually interviewed at the White House, at one point in time, but
Wow.
that was interesting. And then, so never before the full Senate, but I have then been interviewed or worked with Senator Harkin
Yep.
on a few different things and was interviewed with him regarding different legislation for sure.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Um, So what did you actually major in college? Like I'm curious, we joke I am on my plan A. Like I did marketing, I did advertising, like that was my thing and that's what I do. What
Yeah.
did you major in and how does that relate to what you're doing now?
Well, before my accident, I actually was really interested in golf. I was on a golf scholarship. Like I said, I wanted to actually be a teaching pro. And so my whole goal was to own a golf course and manage that and do different
Mhm.
things. And then I ultimately, after my accident, was obviously not swinging the sticks anymore and playing golf. And so I had to kind of pivot, and I leaned into some of my other areas where I was really passionate, and it ended up being like political science and
Oh, okay.
loving the classes that I had taken. I was really big into debate in high school, and that was really, it shaped kind of who I was and how I was able to think about and articulate arguments and just
Mhm.
analyze what people were saying to me. And so then I ended up studying political science, and then my master's is in negotiation and dispute resolution from Creighton.
Wow.
So kind of unique, like not one that a lot of people hear about. And yeah,
Yeah.
then I've been able to leverage both of those. I mean, just with obviously, I think more of the poli-sci in undergrad gives you context for maybe where we've been, to give you pause about maybe where we're going or what we're experiencing. And then the master's degree is like, hey, I mean, you both know this. You don't have to be
Yep.
in politics or anything else. Life is a negotiation, and
Everything is.
there's always enough dispute resolution that you need, to try to navigate that, but
Yeah,
yeah,
we talk a lot in our business about having difficult conversations. Like there are
yeah,
appropriate ways to have difficult conversations,
for sure.
and we have them all the time. Like we have to. It's just the nature of a creative business, and I think that that's kind of as you get into negotiations. Like when you get into sort of a formal negotiation, that's like the ultimate difficult conversation to me. Like,
Yeah,
um, but yeah, you got to find an outcome. So, okay, I'm going to give you a plan A because you've done stuff in politics and you're an elected official. So, political science and you're an elected official. Maybe not the career piece of it,
for sure.
but that's cool. That is so neat.
Yeah, it was really, for me, after my accident, I was more inspired by, "Hey, go after what you enjoy," and figure out the rest later. Like, the
Hmm.
dust will settle, trust that you'll land on your feet, ha, pun intended, like, even if but, that, everything will work out, and it really has. Like, I've just continued to follow my passions and let it lead me, and, when I first ran for office, I lost.
That's
Um,
very common, though,
Spoiler
right?
alert. Yeah, exactly. It's like, "Hey, come on, so did Abraham Lincoln," right? And
He
so
lost a lot and then he suddenly became president. Like it was
Yep. Yep.
just,
He struggled there. And so it's one of those where, whether you think I was hard-headed or persistent, I did it again, and now I've been elected a couple different times. And so it's quite an honor to serve. But yeah, you just don't know where life will take you, and I would say it's definitely led me to this point, and it is kind of a path A. I mean, even if
uh-huh.
after you I always say, like, the before and after, like, I was on a path and then
Yep.
the path diverted, and I've been kind of following that path ever since.
Yeah, you're just on a different branch of the path, I guess.
Yep.
Um, so talking about like giving back and community and the service you do like on the council, is there any particular community project or an initiative that's come through over the last several years that you've been especially proud of and really made an impact on you?
Gosh. I mean, honestly, I could point to a lot of different things, right? Like, I think when I was running for office initially, when I was running to be appointed to the city council in that first election, even in my interview, I kind of joked. Like, I look, I crack jokes, I make light of it. Like,
Mhm.
life is, you can't take it too seriously. And I said to them, the reason I'm applying for this position is selfishly. I said, I want to see more young people, people my age, that are not only living and staying in Sioux City, but
Mhm.
finding Sioux City as their home, that are coming here for, to go to college or to come here for a job and deciding, you know what, this is an amazing place and I want to stay and I want to raise a family here. And I was single at the time, and so I was like, "Gosh, come on, I need more people. I want more people coming to Sioux City." And so I knew that we were on the verge of change and great things, and
Mhm.
I think that I could point to a number of different projects that have really moved the needle, in our favor and been just transformative as a community. I will tell you that the one that I am probably most proud of, and it's one where it's not maybe not as flashy, maybe not
Mhm.
as well known. It's not like you would know. It's not like a landmark. It's not like the riverfront, right? The
Right.
riverfront is incredible. It is beautiful. Or Cone Park, the addition of the tubing hill, the mountain biking area, and now
Yep.
like all of those additions. That's all very exciting, and you can see that. But I would say the part that I am most proud of is I worked with the council and some individuals on just completely revamping our look at tourism and our
Right.
convention and visitors bureau and what that does, how it acts, how it works, how it's funded, and who those people are.
Okay.
And we established a more traditional model of a CVB as opposed to one in-house. And the reason that I think this was important, it was something I was really pushing, but it's because on the council, since I've been on there, one of the mantras or things that I've always thought about is getting a return on your investment.
Mhm.
If you're going to invest in something, like I want to be investing in things wisely that are going to return for us as a community so we can continue to grow it.
Right.
And with the CVB, if you don't know what that means, it's basically you have an entity that is marketing your community.
Yep.
And they work with the areas that you have. They work with your convention center, your event and convention space. They do all those things to market your community to say, you should come visit here. You should
Mhm.
come and vacation here. You should host your conference here. You should do X here. And we've really leaned into that. And you can actually show and track the growth of the revenue coming in, the
Oh,
people
nice.
staying in hotels. I mean, think of the youth sports movement and how
Yep.
it's just exploded. And we're able to tell that narrative. We're able to bring in all of these large scale tournaments. And that equals a lot of heads and beds, which generates revenue not only for the organization, but for the city and for all these different businesses
Yep. I
that
think,
keep Sioux City going.
yeah, what's interesting, I'm in Omaha, and of course, College World Series is going on right now as we
Yeah.
speak. So I'm avoiding downtown like the plague
Yep.
because there's a lot of people down there, but it's a
For
huge,
sure.
huge benefit. But I think the other thing, when I think about events like that, and I think about, I'm trying to remember, is it a large basketball or volleyball tournament you guys host
Oh,
there?
we do multiple. We actually host the NAIA National Championship,
Yep, I
and
knew
that's
that.
in volleyball and basketball.
Oh, it's both.
And
Okay,
so
I was
we've been
right.
having both of those for years,
Yeah.
and they're celebrating milestones. But yeah, it's a huge windfall for the city.
Yeah, and, like, just like the College World Series, like, you don't have to know the team, your team doesn't have to be there. Just going as as a resident and participating, it's just one more interesting thing to do.
Yeah.
And, like, I was talking to somebody the other day, and it's like, when you go to a sporting event like that, that's like a tournament and you don't have any, like, you have no teeth in the game, right?
Yep, yep.
You just really want a good game, and then the no-hitter came up at the College World Series, first one in,
Yes.
like, 80 years, and somebody was like, "Yeah, that can be a boring game." I'm like, "No, because it pivots," and the excitement is like, can he do it? Can he, like,
Yes.
actually pull this out? And I
There's
think that
definitely that tipping point in the game,
yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and I think that that's one of the big things about it's interesting you talk about this behind the scenes organizational structure, funding, like none of these are exciting things. We want to talk about the accounting of the visitors, like how we do that, how we structure it, how it's formatted. But the tangible of that is it actually pays back a revenue dividend. The non-tangible is your initial, like, I want more people to be in Sioux City. I want more people to understand Sioux City. I want more people to want to do things here.
Yep.
And I just look at like where it was because I went to college in the 90s, at Morningside.
No one's
Um,
asking. I mean, I might have the records as the alumni director, but no one I'm not bringing that out here. Not today. Not today.
all good, all good. My GPA was good. I think it was like a 3.8 or 3.7 or
There you
something like
go.
that.
There you go. And you've
But
done very well for yourself.
I've
You've
been
been
all right. Yeah. The thing that was interesting though is like stuff to do. Like we didn't go downtown. There was nothing to do downtown. And that has picked up so much. And I think that's one of the other things is like if you have these events happening at your event centers and things, especially the downtown or your convention center, that infrastructure to support it actually gives more things for the community to do as well. Like,
Yep.
bars, restaurants deciding to stay open later, those kinds of things.
Exactly. Or more businesses take a chance, right? Like the
Mhm.
more people see this and the more people that are visiting and are like, oh, I could see that, you're going to have more. We have more apartments and living units
Yep.
downtown now than we've ever had.
Yep.
And it's like, so that's growing. You have the Hard Rock, the Tyson Event Center, the Orpheum Theater, the
Yep.
Sioux City Art Center. I mean,
The Warrior's
the
my
Warrior
go-to. Oh
Hotel.
my God. Love the bar.
So beautiful. I mean, and if you haven't seen the riverfront, that redevelopment was just, it's absolutely breathtaking and it's packed every single weekend.
Yep.
And it's like, these are the types of things that, draws people to a community and gets them to believe in it and have some pride in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's it's interesting for me because Sioux City's had like struggles with growth in population. I mean, you look
Yeah.
at the population charts and it was like flat for a really long time. And I think that it's that mindset of like, and you nailed it, we're going to invest. We're going to spend money, folks. Like we've got to spend money, but we're going to get it back and then some. Because again, like more people moving there is more tax revenue. Like there's
Yes.
just, it compounds itself.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, and that is the challenging dialogue that you have. I mean, it is, look, Sioux City is a blue collar community. I mean, our roots are in the stockyards and
mhm.
working hard. And so we're not that blue collar city or the white collar city. We're not, but we have so much to be proud of, and our people work hard. And the more we invest and are proud of our community, the more we support those area
Mhm.
businesses, the more you see it return.
Yep.
And the more you see growth, the more jobs you see, the more people are joining and coming here, and you have more to do. I
Yep.
mean, it's
It
funny.
all just balloons on us. Like it
It
just
is, and people
continues to
want
go.
more and more different new. I mean, now we're getting a Raising Canes. That's right. Don't fall out of your seat. Getting things like Raising Canes and all kinds of different stuff. But it wouldn't be if there wasn't some growth and some
Yep.
momentum, and we just got to work on some of the other components, but they're
Hey,
coming.
I was there for the first Taco Bell that came to Sioux City. Like that was a big
Oh,
deal. It was down by Sneaky's Chicken.
there you go.
Um, yeah. Oh God, so awesome. Um, I
We
could
just had
just
a core
gush.
memory. There was a
Yeah,
core memory right there of
I
tacos
know.
getting up
Well,
rib,
because
saw it across
we're a
your
college
face.
student. We're super poor, and you could shoot right down there, and like that was back in the days of like 69-cent tacos and things. Like nothing like today.
It's wild.
Um, So I think that, I was born in Sioux City. I was born at St. Luke's. I grew up for my first few years on Alice Street in Morningside.
Yeah.
And then we moved away to Sergeant Bluff and then Denison. So still Siouxland, still getting the TV stations from up there. But I could gush about it. Like the Warrior Hotel was a big one for me. And I remember when that project was happening and talking to the people who were doing it, because as a kid, like we would go downtown to shop because that's where you went before the mall and all the
Yep.
skywalks and JCPenney and all
Yep.
that. But that building was so huge and boarded up for decades, like just forever. And when you're in there now, and when I'm like, that's where I stay when I come up to see the Sioux
Yeah.
City office.
Yeah.
It's like you can't believe this was just an abandoned, dangerous building. Like
Yep.
it's so great.
Well, and just going to the rooftop bar, that's like one of my favorite
Oh,
spots. And if for nothing else, just the vantage point, the view, because it's
mhm.
just awe-inspiring to look out at the community and look over even to South Sioux or even the river and the bridge, and City Hall is right there. It's
Yeah.
just, it is really awe-inspiring, and it's just one of those, like, it gives you that sense of pride. And I think more community members need to have that. We need to find that. I'm not from Sioux City. I'm not a native of
It's
Sioux
okay.
City. I'm from
Northwest Iowa, we'll give it to you.
Okoboji of all places,
I
but
know.
this is the place that's my home, and I want to make it better than the way I found it. And so I'm doing everything I can to invest in it.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Um, One last question. Oh, we're going to kind of pivot away from Sioux City. This is that age old, if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self. Um, is there a piece of advice you'd give yourself now, knowing everything you know
Don't
now?
go after the hat. Don't dive
Let the
after
hat
that.
go.
Just kidding.
I mean, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah,
Like,
right, right. No, I think that, I mean, honestly, people ask me all the time if I could go back and make a different decision from my accident, or like change
mhm,
history and do that, would I? And I always think that's a challenging question because what I will tell you is now granted I was 18. So you're a different person then, and I was
Mhm.
much more selfish. I was way more focused on golf, money, and girls is what I usually say. But my accident taught me the importance of people around you and the impact you can leave on one another. And so like if I could go back in time and tell my younger self anything, it would just be to cherish the people around you
Mhm.
and the moments you have. Like I never really got to connect with my grandma, either of my grandmas or my grandpas for that matter, the way that I wish I had, and had some of those memories. And, my grandma passed away from Alzheimer's the same year as my accident. And just this accident, just in my life ever since, has taught me how much the people around us
Mhm.
are a part of our story, a part of our journey, and we impact them in such profound ways, even if you don't know you're making a difference. The way you smile and greet someone on the city street can change their whole
Yep.
outlook for that day. And I love that. And I think that like we miss that and we forget that. And especially in today's social media era, I mean, it's technological, screen based. Hey, no offense, if you're watching this pod
Mhm.
or if you're listening to it, but it really emphasized to me the difference we can make in one another's lives. You referenced it early on of how I was inspired by the healthcare workers or just everyone at that hospital. And it's true. They inspired me. And I think we have the ability, the innate ability to inspire everyone around us every single day. And you never know, it could be the smallest way. And so I would tell my younger self to really pay attention to that
Yep.
and don't take those moments for granted.
I feel like that's good advice for anybody, younger self or even today, just like we get so like, stuck in our screens
Yeah.
and you miss the people around you. And I think that like that's something that especially if you're a kid, like a teenager, 18, 20, 25, like you're not necessarily focused on everyone around you. You've got your group of people that you care about,
Yeah.
but you're not really noticing the world, and all of that. And just to be able to open your eyes and embrace that, um, that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of screens, like I saw today, like I don't know if you've seen these ads, they're coming at me on social media and places, but there's a new camera that is not a disposable camera. It's a digital camera, but it has no screen on the back. So you just take pictures. It's $69, I think. So they're pitching to be like replace the disposable cameras at camp and at weddings, but you take the pictures, but there's no like, is it perfect? Let's take it again. Let's
Okay.
watch them all. You take the pictures and then have that surprise. Remember the surprise of like getting film
Yes.
developed and you had no idea what you got.
I very much so
Um,
remember that.
and I was like, this is going back to my very first digital camera. It had no screen on the back. It was just you looked through it and pushed. It was also like
Yeah,
640 by 480 or something on the
sure.
pictures.
And then you had to
Um,
take the drive out and plug
yep,
it in and figure it out,
yep,
put it into an adapter so that you could put it into your computer and
yep,
all these things,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah, so I kinda love that. I like that there's this kind of movement, and obviously people would be watching this on the screen or listening to it on a device, but, taking some time, like I go sit on my back patio while the dogs are out there. No phone, glass of water, glass of wine, cocktail. I had a lychee martini the other day. It was delicious.
Oh, there you
And
go.
just while they're running around, I just take that moment to pause and be outside and not worry about like getting them back inside. Like let them run, let them play, let them sniff, let them do stuff. And I
Yeah.
just relax. And I'll do that in the middle of the day while working too. Like, it's
Wait,
important.
the martini part or the dog part? Wait,
Let the
I
dogs
mean,
out. I
hold on,
generally
are we
don't drink
recording
martinis.
still? Are we getting this on? No, I'm just
I
kidding.
mean, I could. I mean, who's
Hey,
gonna
when you
punish
own
me?
the company, when it's your ship at
Right?
sail, you decide, Captain.
We have done margarita lunches at Chili's. I know that's happened,
Oh, there
with
you go. Well, I
Caitlin and
mean,
Jesse
when
and
you're at
Jessica.
Chili's,
Yeah, I mean, and they do those
if
like
you're not getting a
$5
margarita, you're doing
margaritas.
something wrong,
Right,
Rich.
and they're huge, they're big.
Yes. Well,
Uh,
and I will tell you, it's funny you bring up your dogs because I actually, I don't know if you've seen this, but at Morningside we have an animal ambassador, and her name is Betty. and she is my golden retriever. She's about 4 years old, and she actually is fast asleep at the chair here next to me in my office. But to your point, she reminds me to be so present and to appreciate the most little things. And because, like, look, I hate the cold. I hate it. But because my body just doesn't adapt well and I get cold so easily, all these things. But we're in Iowa, we're in the winter. This dog, when there's a foot of snow or there's fresh snowfall or snow is falling, she has more fun than anyone you should ever have in snowfall. And it's like, no matter how cold I am, I just smile and it brings so much joy that it's like, I love how happy you are. And I will be outside and I will let you play because that's what life is about. Like, I want you to enjoy that. And it just reminds me that it's like, look, life is short, like play in the snow, dance in the rain, whatever it is. And I love those moments that you can reflect.
Yep, 100%. I think that's, Zach, a great place for us to like leave it. It's like, thank you so much, Alex. This was great. Like, next time we're at an event together, I need to actually stop and we need to chat. Like, you've got so much going on in your background. I want to hear more about DC. I want to hear more about Senator Harkin. He was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
My dad was in the National Guard, so he did some stuff with Senator Harkin.
Okay. Well, and I'll have that Manhattan. You go ahead and have that martini or whatever it is. That sounds great.
We can do it on the rooftop of the Hard Rock, or not the Hard Rock, the Warrior.
I'm in.
Perfect.
I'm in, boss.
All right. Zach, take us home.
As always, thanks for listening. Thank you for being here, Alex. You can find our agency at antidote_71. And if you have a question you'd like to send our way, head to ctapodcast.live to shoot us an email. Or even better, you can leave us a voice message on our hotline at 402-718-9971. Your question will make it into a future episode of the podcast.
Yeah, and if you can see, I don't know if you can see over my shoulder here, this is all books. This is our cocktail book ready to go out to people. You just got to send in a question or call in a question. But Alex, you'll get one. As for being a guest on the show, you get our
gift. Here we go.
It is value of $19.95, so no need to tax on it.
All right, no doubt.
It'll all be good. All right, thanks for being here, and thanks, Zach. We'll be back with another episode next week. Zach is keeping it a mystery from me at the moment, so it's not in the notes. But until then, enjoy your cocktails, and go have that Manhattan tonight, Alex.
No doubt. Cheers. Cheers.